Marlboro is a city that is always changing for the better. That means there's a lot going on down at the MEDC offices on Main Street. We now bring in Lora Markova, who is with MEDC Executive Director Tim Cummings.
Thanks, Zoe. Well, the Marlboro Economic Development Corporation is essential to the growth and prosperity of the city of Marlboro, and yet few people are aware of what it actually does. So let me give you a little bit of a background. Basically, the MEDC works to assist and attract businesses and developers who are coming here to work in the city. At the same time, it looks to bolster the existing economic infrastructure by helping local businesses grow, as well as looking for ways to improve the quality of life here for the residents of the city, and ultimately lowering the tax rate for everyone, which is really what it ultimately does. So I'm joined here by MEDC Executive Director to give me a little bit more details on exactly how they do that. Tim, thanks for joining me and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, so let's dive right in. Let's talk about some of the projects that you're working on this year. In the past couple of years, you've been working to bring in big businesses, GE Healthcare, Quest Diagnostics, Sandisk, the list goes on, TJX. But this year, you really are focusing on helping the smaller businesses, the local businesses, and you're doing this through the Economic Development Toolbox that you've developed. Tell me a bit more about that.
Sure, absolutely. So part of economic development is the attraction, and we've been focusing on backfilling some of the empty spaces. The other half of economic development is retention and expansion. So we have a great cluster of businesses of small, medium sizes here in the city. We want to see them grow. Oftentimes to do that, you need some help and assistance, particularly with access to capital. That's our revolving loan fund. So we created this pool of funds, working with some of our private sector partners, St. Mary's Credit Union, Marlboro Savings Bank, Avidia Bank, and DCU. Came together along with the city of Marlboro to throw in some money together into a fund which we're looking to lend out to small businesses to help them grow. We oftentimes hear that access to capital is one of the biggest impediments to small businesses' expansion plans.
So this is the, so to say, crown jewel of your development toolbox.
That's right.
The revolving loan fund. And have you had any success stories that you can share with us?
Absolutely. So we've actually had a local business here in Marlboro take advantage of it already. Mass Signal, great company. It's a master electrician who wanted to go out on his own. He needed to buy a vehicle to do that. We were able to assist in that, creating 2 additional jobs for the local economy here as well.
So ultimately you're helping to fund part of what he cannot fund himself, or the banks cannot fund for him.
That's right.
Excellent. And what about the other parts of the toolbox? There are 3 other parts.
Sure, absolutely. So one additional part is an incentive to help small businesses that don't qualify for the traditional TIF program here in the city. You know, that typically has some barriers to entry because of the capital requirements. It typically is used for bigger and larger businesses. This takes that hurdle away, gives it access to some of the smaller businesses, which is an incentive for them to grow and expand here in the city by again offering them a small subsidy to fuel their expansion plans.
So who do you say should be looking to apply for these programs?
Yeah, so industries that we target tend to be in the innovation sector, so life science, advanced manufacturing, high tech, basically anyone who's exporting a good or a service, and therefore we can import dollars into our political subdivision here, which is the city of Marlboro, which increases wealth.
And what about the smaller businesses? Who is eligible really to apply if they want to take advantage of the revolving loan fund, for example?
Anyone who has a business located here in the city or is willing to locate their business here in the city. It's not segregated into certain sections of the city. Anywhere in the entire city can definitely apply for it. We also have an additional tool actually, but this is actually designated just for the downtown. Over the last couple of years, we've been focusing on redeveloping the downtown. We actually just capitalized another program to help assist with rent for small businesses, but that tool in particular is only dedicated for the downtown. So those are the different programs that we are offering to help the small businesses here in the city grow and thrive.
And you're mentioning the downtown, and specifically the downtown rezoning, and I know that part of the reason why you launched this economic development toolbox was to help to populate the downtown with
Right.
more businesses.
That's right.
Now, you're also working on it from another angle, developing the downtown through creating different developments that
Yep.
are actually beyond the business, that
Yep.
can be populated by businesses. So we're standing right here in front of the biggest landmark in downtown,
Sure.
the Walker Building, and
Right.
there is something going on with the Walker Building right now. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we knew, what we learned from the studies that we've done over the last couple of years is that we need to definitely infuse additional economic positive impact into the downtown. You can only do that in larger footprints, and so we know the Walker Building being an existing structure, it's really coming up a little short in terms of its current use, and we want to actually get a highest and best use in the downtown here with the Walker Building as being one of the catalysts. Think of it as an anchor. So you want to make sure that this building, instead of creating something new and building on a greenfield site, adaptive reuse of a current structure for a higher and better purpose is a great urban planning tool. We're looking to do that now. We're in the very early stages of planning for that.
And there's going to be, some public hearings on this, and the public will be involved in kind of giving their opinion on how things should go. What have you heard so far from people? What are people suggesting
I've
that
heard
this
lots
building
of
should be used
ideas.
for?
Yeah, I've heard lots and lots of ideas, and all good ones. And keep them coming. Off of the MEDC's Facebook page or through the public meetings that we will be having. We'll start those up through the summertime. Love to hear those ideas, and we're hearing everything from innovation space to residential to performance center to maker space to art galleries. Everything's on the table, nothing's off the table. Really what's going to be driving the question is what's the highest and best use that will help improve Marlborough.
Mm-hmm. And there's another project as well that is in
Sure.
downtown, and that is already in the approval stages.
That's right.
At just above Fish Restaurant,
Yep.
the owner there is looking to actually build a residential complex above his restaurant. Tell me a little bit more about that, and where's that at?
So it's in the permitting. It's in the hopefully the final stages of the permitting process, and ultimately again following the plan that we put into place a couple of years back. We're looking to maximize the air rights above buildings. That was a single-story building. He's looking to go 4 floors. We're looking to maximize the asset by allowing for some creative alternative parking solutions. We know we can do that. We studied that at nauseum over the last year and a half. Within the downtown here, we have more than 1,000 parking spaces, free public parking. We've studied their usage. We know that they're underutilized 2/3 of the time. So we know that basically managing our assets of the parking, which is essentially like a utility, and managing in particular the structured parking a little bit differently will help us achieve some positive economic impact. Those 40 additional units that are looking to come to the downtown will directly support the small businesses to get some of the things that some of the downtown people here have been looking for in terms of growth of their small businesses, and then some of the residents have been talking about, in terms of some of the amenities that they would like to see, a brew pub and whatnot. You're only going to be able to do that is if you get that positive impact in place to begin with.
Great. Now let's move away from downtown and more towards Route 20. There's
Sure.
been a lot of businesses just in the past month alone
Yeah.
that have moved into areas along the Route 20 corridor. Now, why are businesses coming here and continuing to come here? What is attracting them?
Yeah, it's a great question, and one I'm proud to tell. Marlborough's a miracle with the larger footprints that have come in, and then some of the smaller and medium-sized businesses that have come in. Whether it was Wakefly that just recently came into the city or whatnot, we're blessed by our access and our talented people. Those two critical infrastructure pieces, human capital and then our roadway network, have made Marlborough a great place for businesses to grow and thrive, and then a welcoming environment that the message that we send out, supported by the city leaders, city council, the administration with the mayor, and then all the way on through to the residents. We've been a great place for businesses to come, grow, and thrive, and that's ultimately really important because creating and giving access to those jobs is what's putting people to work, and it's leading Marlborough to being a percentage point underneath the Commonwealth of Massachusetts unemployment rate. And there's a whole reason why all that is happening, and it's because of the work that all of us as a team have been doing together.
And let me close on this. What other project is the MEDC working on at the moment?
Sure, we're in the early stages of working on a project on Boston Post Road West with a 43-acre development site that is proposed right now. It's just starting the permitting. It's got a long way to go, but when done, could increase tax dollars into the city by about 1.3, 1.5 million. And provide a few hundred jobs, and those would all be amenity-based type of industry, you know, entertainment, retail, hospitality type industry. So really looking forward to talking about that project further.
Big plans coming
absolutely,
up.
Absolutely.
All right, well, Tim Cummings, Executive Director of Marlborough Economic Development Corporation, thank you very much for joining us today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And you can learn more about what the MEDC does for the City of Marlborough and apply for any of their programs on the Marlborough EDC website. You can also follow community news on the Marlborough EDC social pages. That's all for me for now. I'm Lora Markova, and back to the studio.